So you said that you rarely do water change, right?
Only on the quarantine tanks.
On the quarantine tanks.
On this, we have water coming in. I don't know if Josh showed you the amount. We collect our rainwater, and this is the amount of water that comes in daily, or all day, every night, all night. And it's a whole lot. Okay. Some of that is city water, some of that is rainwater, but that's a constant, steady flow in.
Okay.
Now, to offset that, we have a dosing system.
Okay, so where is the overflow for this system?
Well, that's kind of tricky. It's in there. How is that possible?
I don't know, bro.
Okay, we have a pump right here.
Okay, so I know. I'm pretty much running the same thing with you. I'm having the water flow in, steady water flow in.
Do you have a dosing system on that?
No, because like...
It'd make it easier.
Yeah, because...
You have to add prime, you have to do all that?
Nothing, because like I'm using like groundwater and my groundwater
well water.
Yeah, well water.
Okay.
Well water is...
You don't have to chlorinate.
Nothing.
Or dechlorinate.
Nothing. So
right.
I just like have it running steady.
You lucked out
flow,
there.
And then it will overflow, and I will direct the excess water to the plants that I have in my garden, so nothing goes to waste.
Nice.
Yeah. That's why like I'm asking you, like, where is the overflow? There must be like a overflow stand or something, so you can direct the excess water somewhere.
We have a pump here running off of this big hose here, the center one.
Oh, this is the pump, all right. Yeah, I can see it.
You can see it down there?
Yeah.
That runs in here and comes all the way over here. Now, if you look right there, you'll see a hose coming in with water blasting out the end of it. Clear hose? Okay, that's the hose from the pool pond. Now, what it's doing is coming over here, running through our filtration here, and filling this up. Okay. Now, this has an overflow in it on the side right there. Can you see it?
Near the stingray over there, there's a stingray floating.
Right above the stingray there.
Okay.
Now, when this gets too full, it overflows back into the pond. Okay, now you think, okay, that's running out and back in. It don't make sense. But we regulate the water going out. This water comes in here, goes through here, and this is an overflow. That goes to the drain. Okay?
Okay. This one?
This one here goes straight to the drain. This is the last water on our system before it goes to the drain. And then over here, we have this hose. That hose goes out to the drain. So now what we do is we open or close the valve on the end of that hose. If the pool's getting too full, we open this. We've got it now to where we haven't had to touch it in like 4 months. It's running the same levels.
Okay. So bro, can I make a conclusion like everything, the very first system is the pond.
The pond, first
right?
system.
The very first system is the pond. And after that, the water goes here and everything. So basically, everything here
is the pond water.
Is the pond water. Correct?
And then it overflows and goes out here.
All right.
And if there's any extra that builds up, it overflows back into the pond.
Okay.
And we can regulate that by the height of the pond.
So that's why you never have to do water change, because you literally always have a steady flow in your pond,
right,
which dilutes all the waste or
right,
whatever is that, and goes to the entire system
right
over here. That makes sense to me.
You see water coming from here going over to the 750. Well, that fills the overflow under the 2200, and then the 2200 goes to the drain too.
All right, this is super interesting.
Now come on over here. Everything up to this point is on our system and on our drains. Then over to here, we have everything on this wall is our quarantine tanks, where we do have to do water changes, along with this 550. So everything here is for the ability to bring new fish in and quarantine.
So
this is on our system.
So they have their own filter system, right?
Yes. Well, this 550 has actually 5 FX5s on it. They're all running underneath here. Plus there's a couple of sponge filters in there, because this is a heavy bio load. We're constantly bringing big fish in, you know. And then, you know, come on down to here. I have 2 sponge filters on every tank that's here. And the reason why being is not so much for the tank, but when we go on fish rescues, I'll take a sponge filter out of there, a sponge filter out of here, and a sponge filter out of here, and we'll use them on our trip picking up fish. So not only if the people didn't purge them for 3-4 days first, if they're going to pee, the ammonia, the nitrites, and all that's going to be changed into nitrates and make it safer for the fish. Less water changes we have to do on the way home, if at all any, you know. So we monitor that, and then we come back and we put the foam back in, because we put the foam pads in the tanks. Like, say this one's empty, but I use these 3 foam pads. I'll now take these ones out of here and put over there, and I'll put the ones we used on the trip here, and the fish will come into here. And then they'll quarantine on the foam pads that they already used. It's real easy to spread diseases by using the foam pad you used on the trip, put it back where you got it from, and put the fish in here. Now there's 2 tanks contaminated, you know? So we try and keep everything, you know, 3 weeks on this tank, 3 weeks on this tank. Like these fish down here are getting ready to be given away. These fish can be given away. They've all been quarantined. Everything's good to go. And, you know, we just have to do water changes. On here, a lot of times after we get rid of all the fish in this tank, I'll do a 100% water change, and you know, start fresh basically with the same bacteria that's on the filters. And that way it's got nothing left of the last fish.
All right, I mean, like, so you're only using a sponge filter. Is that enough?
Not if I had the tank crowded.
Okay.
But you know, a few fish in each tank, you're good.
And also you're also doing water change regularly on the
on these, yeah,
okay.
yeah. That's the only way to keep these clear is water changes, because you know as a fish keeper, if you got underfiltration and over bacteria, you're going to have a mess.
yeah.
So
where is you have the storage tank for the new water outside this building?
it's actually on the roof of the pool room.
So you collect the city water and rainwater.
Well, I'm sorry. The roof of the fish room, the room right next to here, the roof of the pool room is higher. The drain for that goes into a big bladder that's sitting on the roof of the fish room. And then we added this room, and then all the rainwater gets collected there into barrels too. We collect as much as we can because it's so expensive to buy city water. Oh my goodness. I'd be spending probably $1,500 a month on city water. And then the way they do their sewer is, if you're using X amount of city water, then they automatically charge you X amount of sewer water, 2 times it, you know? So I would have to get another meter put on my house saying that I'm not using their sewer. I'm draining all this water to the river out back. And they would want to, it's expensive to get another meter put on, and it's just a hassle. So I don't use the city water as much as possible.
This is the first time I see something like this, Rich. I mean, like, when I came here, I thought you had like each tank has its own filtration. But
well, they do in a sense. Like these big tanks, like look at this one here. This is a 550 gallon, and it's just got water coming in from that overflow and then flowing out here. So it's a small amount. I have 3 FX5s and 6s on here. 2 FX5s and 1 FX6. And you know, they keep it, I don't really fill them with bacteria. I fill them with just the sponges.
So this just for like mechanical.
Yes.
So,
mechanical filtration to keep the particulates down, which makes it clear. The bacterial is handled by the pass-through, and the way I can tell you is this is the dirtiest water in our house. Okay. You know, it's the last tank on the line. Every tank has 2. The 4,000 goes from there to the 1,000 and then back to the filtration. This water comes from that tank to this tank and then out. Yeah. This water comes to the 750 and then into here. Even though that looks backwards, you'd think it would go this first, but this has a big sump underneath. So it overflows the 750, goes into the sump, overflows that sump down there and goes into the drain. So every tank has like 2 tanks on its water disbursement.
Okay, I have a question, bro.
Yeah.
Like, why do you choose to use FX6 or FX5? Why don't you use like overhead filter? Wouldn't it be easier to maintain with the overhead filter?
You mean the hang on the back filters?
Not the hang on the back, like top filter, like overhead filters.
Like them tubs up there?
Yeah, something like that.
I use them. They're really ugly and looking, you know. If I had something here, it'd be a big setup here and water coming through it. I believe in the trickle design. I do not believe in the water being, you know, with air going through it. I believe in the trickle design. In other words, I have pumps in the 4000 that pumps up to these, and they're full of fiber floss, pillow stuffing. And then it goes back into the oh, come on around here, I'll show you. You can see in the corner there a bunch of pumps and hoses.
Yes.
If you look up here, that's the return from this tub. And if you can see inside of it, you'll see fiber floss. Same thing over here. And this is just because it's a big tank, you know, so it's hard. I can't put 15 FX5s on it, you know. Okay. I made my own out of tubs, filled them full of fiber floss, and then that's the amount of flow coming back in.
Is that the blue basket over there?
Yeah, the blue tub. And you see the water coming back in back there, the splashing bubbles? That's the amount of flow. I think that's 2,000 gallons per hour. And it all seems to work for me. If I had my way, I would make everything a homemade filter. But in lieu of looking good, I can use the FX5s, put them on the floor or underneath. It'll pump down, go through the sponges, and then go back up and return. So I use them. They're the biggest of the canister filters I can find. Now, I'm sure there's bigger out there, but they're not readily on the market. Like some guy has a big pond filter that does the same thing as an FX5. What's the chances I'm going to run across 30 more of those? Okay. You know? So the FX5s, we run across anybody that has a 150 gallon wants an FX5 or something like that, or two to run it. And that's how we've kept them, because if you have all the same filters, you can have parts from a broken one, or one that don't have a hose has a motor, or it has the lugs that you need to screw it down. So we try and keep all the filters the same, and FX5s turned out to be the most common out there. And it works good. I like them.
And what about the filtration system here? I think Josh showed me that you have your own filtration system, like your own sump underneath the tank, right?
Yeah, this one has its own sump that came with it. It's a big sock table.
Is it made from fiberglass?
That's, yeah, I think it is fiberglass. Plastic of some sort.
Okay.
But yeah, it goes, the water overflows these end guys and then comes down there, goes through, I think there's 9 socks down there, and then goes through the sump area, which is full of bioballs, and then gets pumped back up. When it gets a certain height, it overflows out to the drain. So no matter how much, if I speed up the water coming here, it'll speed up the water going out. That's all. It's very simple. And I've got all the water running out of that 750, and the amount of water we got going in isn't that much. Now, I've got a bucket here. This is how much is going to the 750 and then the 2200. That's a constant run through. So if you figure this on the whole system here, this on this system, and then this from the 2 big ones and the 3000, we've got 4 rows this size that are draining out. So the pool stays about the same size because we got one section of water coming in that's a lot faster. So this one overflows that center overflow and then runs down to the sump down there. What we did is we drilled a hole in the bottom of the sump and put the hose from that right onto it with the bulkhead. So now it's part of that sump filling up. If I didn't have no water coming in, this sump here would never overflow. So water comes into the sump and it gets a certain height that overflows to the drain. So this is the worst water on that system. This is the worst water on this system. The 3000 is the worst water on that system. Well, there's more. You've got this system over here.
All right.
This is supposed to be your main sump. You've got your mechanical, you got your biological, and this is supposed to be the sump. The freshest water getting pumped up to all the tanks. But in lieu of, we needed space and the stingrays, because their stingrays are here, all of our stingrays had to go in here. So we're pumping up actually dirty water at the moment, you know, for the last, I think, 3 months. It's not that dirty, but it's still dirty water, you know. It's not, it's got ammonia in it for sure, you know.